Thank you for joining us for our final session of EDUCAUSE Demo Day, AI-enabled student success and engagement tools. My name is Jason Martin. I am a Learning Programs Manager at EDUCAUSE, and I'll be your host for this final demo. Please use the chat to share comments and to ask questions for our presenters. If you would like to view closed captioning, you can click the Show Captions button at the bottom of the Zoom room. Now, please join me in welcoming Joe and Mark from Canyon GBS. Over to you all, gentlemen.
Jason, thanks so much for that. And thank you everyone for joining us here today. My name is Joe Licata, and I am the founder of Canyon GBS. I'm here with my colleague, Mark Cohn, our Chief Experience Officer, and both Mark and I have spent decades working in academic technology and IT at higher education institutions. And the software we will be demoing for you today is built by educators for educators. In other words, before we were building technology for colleges and universities, we spent decades buying technology from the market on the institution side. In fact, our executive team alone served at institutions for more than 75 years before we brought Advising App to market. And we're really excited to bring that experience that we had to everything that we do at Canyon GBS. Okay, we're going to break up the demo into two different parts. The first will be for staff and faculty focused features, and the second will be features that would be directly used by students and prospective students. So this is really narrowing down to our enterprise AI capabilities for student success. That's part of our Advising App technology. Because we've got a lot to cover in a short time, we'll spend most of our time in demo with 10 to 15 minutes reserved for Q&A. At the end, we'll also share a link so your institution could book a follow-up demo tailored to your specific needs for your specific teams. Please feel free to ask questions as we go in chat, and then we'll collect those and answer them as we move towards the end. Let's begin with features that focus directly on supporting students, staff and faculty. All right, so why did we build what we're about to show you? Organizations are still struggling to adopt wide-scale, centrally managed AI solutions, especially when the tools are industry agnostic or not purpose-built for higher education. Research is currently showing that about 1 in 6 employees in the United States are using AI regularly for their day-to-day work, despite it being the most powerful and applicable technology to enter the picture really since the internet. So that's what we do at Canyon. We build AI technologies specifically for higher education. We would like to see more staff use AI in their everyday work in support of their higher education mission. Today, we're going to show you the 4 pictured features for staff and faculty. Our institutional advisor, that serves as your general purpose, institution-wide AI solution for every staff and faculty member. Our custom advisors empower power users to build AI-specific experts that serve them and other staff with your data as the source of its knowledge. Our research advisor, it's a tool built for higher education for faculty and staff productivity. Whether your strategic plan calls for increasing enrollment, you're planning a curriculum project, you're producing a new technology strategy, or maybe you're transitioning to competency-based education, the research advisor can deeply evaluate any concept and serve as a great starting point for how you might think through and work that topic. And then lastly, there's Drop with AI, which is where we show you how we can have integrated AI through our full lifecycle CRM to make it easier to manage your student service work. With that, let me turn it over to Mark to take you through our staff and faculty features in Advising App.
Thank you, Joe. I'm going to take over, and hopefully you all will be able to see my screen here in just a moment. Can everyone see that? Okay. All right. Let's go ahead and get started then. So thank you. So this is Advising app. This part of our demo is going to focus on the staff and faculty experience with our AI features, as Joe mentioned. So let's start here with my avatar up in the upper right-hand corner. One unique aspect of our enterprise AI solution is that our AI has important context about you and your institution. Our AI is prepared with things like your institutional strategic plan, key higher education specific information, your name, your role at your college, and what team you are on, along with other important contextual information about your institution that we gather during implementation. Now, we do offer the ever popular dark mode for those who prefer that, and I know it's popular, but I am going to do the demo today in light mode. It's a little bit easier to see, I think, for some folks, but we have that in case that's your preferred way of interfacing. Now, I also want to point out that every college has its own isolated AI models with our solution. No data is shared with third parties, no data is shared between our customers, and no data is shared back to the model for training. It is secure, private, and compliant to a degree that many other AI tools that we compete against are not. Staff and faculty can safely enter even sensitive student information into our enterprise AI without any fear. Now, I want to show you what this looks like. The very first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to click over here to artificial intelligence, and I'm going to open the institutional advisor. Now, the very first thing that happens is I'm greeted with a college-defined user agreement. This agreement is unique and customizable for your school. It can say whatever your legal or risk management team or president says it should say. Every user must accept this before using the product. And every user must accept it again if it changes. This helps your college stay compliant. And anytime you use AI, if this policy is updated, you will have to accept it again. So I've accepted it. And now I can start a brand new chat with the institutional advisor. And so the very first thing I'm going to do is start with a prompt asking our board to invest in an important program at our college. So this will allow me to just chat with it, perhaps like other AI solutions that you've seen. But notice that it takes a very formal tone, appropriate for a letter to the board. And it also understands what dual enrollment is, right? I don't have to tell it that. I don't have to explain that. Now, maybe you don't do fundraising at your college, but we all have to make a persuasive case for something from time to time, and AI can help you with that. Now, as soon as it completed, it automatically saved this. You'll notice here it appears with the title, Dual Enrollment Program Investment Ask, right? But it also gave me these two new links down here in the bottom right. One of these links allows me to email this conversation, the entire contents of the conversation with AI, out to a colleague, for example. The other thing I can do, though, is I could clone this. And if this were a long thread of conversation that I had with the AI, that person would get the entire context, my entire conversation, and they could pick up right where I left off. So perhaps I'm going to be out on leave and I want to hand something over, perhaps a project that I'm planning or something, and I'm using AI to help with that. I can just hand that off to a colleague and they have all the context when I clone it to them. Now you'll notice that I could also change the name by using the pencil or delete it. I can drag it down and put it in a folder if I want. And I do want to point out our folder architecture here. You'll notice I've got a lot of folders and lots of chats saved in those folders. I can rename these. I can delete them, reorganize them. And this is absolutely personalized for each user. So you create whatever folders are helpful for you and organize your conversations with AI accordingly. Now, one other thing that I want to point out here, just about the sort of institutional advisor basic interface, is that we have this paperclip. And the paperclip icon allows you to upload any additional data that you want the AI to consider when it responds to your query. This could be spreadsheets, PDFs, video files, audio files, images, and so forth. And our institutional advisor will be able to work with that data and then use that to supplement what's in the large language model to generate a response for you. So that's pretty cool. Now, I also want to show you something we have called the prompt library. Now I'm going to go over here to the prompt library and it will show you some of our prompts. Um, we have two types of prompts in our system. First, we have what are called smart prompts. Smart prompts are curated, higher education specific prompts populated in your instance by Canyon GBS, and they're designed to help all departments and all staff members with daily activities. These prompts are smart because the information they need will be collected by asking you a few questions rather than you needing to know what information is needed up front to generate a great prompt. And it will generate that prompt for you and produce really high quality results. The second type of prompt that we have is called a custom prompt. These are available for your institution to develop your own prompts as you create a community of practice around AI at your institution. You can share these across the college, and you can track usage and likes through our system of upvoting. And the whole concept of this prompt library is to help with the adoption of AI powered tools for your staff and your faculty at your institution. Now, a number of these prompts you can see here. You can also see some of our smart prompts right here on the main screen. And you can access the full prompt library, obviously, with this link down here in the corner where it says full prompt library. Now, for the purposes of this demo, I'm going to show you a smart prompt that I already used and the output that it generated. So I used one that we have called the Campus Initiative brainstorming prompt. And I'm going to scroll up to the top here. I want to show you a little bit about what makes it smart. So it asked me some questions. I picked the prompt and it says, what challenge or issue are you trying to address? I give it some information. It asks me another question. I give it a little bit more. So it's interactive in this way, right? And this will help it build a great prompt on the back end and produce really good output. So then it will give me this response. It will give me some suggestions, and then I can continue the conversation from there with all the context that it's already generated. So I can say, please elaborate on suggestions 1 and 3. I don't have to say what those are, right? It has all that context. And then it gives me more detail about these ideas. We could go into drafting communications or building project plans or fleshing these out further. And AI can help with all of that and help speed it along. Now, part of today's conversation is about how this is AI powered solutions for student success. So I want to go to a student record in our lifecycle CRM, as Joe mentioned, and I want to show you the way we can use it in direct communications with the student. So I'm just going to use our global search box here. I'm going to search for a student named Shirley. And then once I go to Shirley's holistic profile, this is her holistic record here. And you can see I've got information coming over from the SIS about programs and enrollments, and then all the things you'd expect to see in a CRM. I'm going to click on this messages button, and then I'm going to click a new message for Shirley. Now, let's say that I have a note that I want to send to Shirley, and I want to invite her to an upcoming open house. So I could just start typing that here, of course. I could go to our email templates and load something, but I want to show you how you can use AI to help speed things along and make your life so much easier. So you'll notice right away that the AI has that important context we were talking about. So the AI knows who I am and the record that we're talking about because I pulled it up from Shirley's student record. So now I'm going to ask it to help me draft this friendly email invitation to Shirley about our upcoming open house. Now, I've made 2 mistakes here. Firstly, I've misspelled Shirley's name. And secondly, I've called it an open hose, right? So a couple of easy, simple mistakes that anyone could make, right? And so I put that in, and the AI fixed my mistakes. It knows that I don't want to invite her to an open hose, but that I want to invite her to an open house. It also knows that I can pull her name directly from the database so that my misspelling of her name will not come across in the note that I send to her. It will automatically, in this case, it's decided to pull in her preferred name So when the note goes out, it won't have the misspelling of her name and it won't invite her to an open hose. So I've got this great template. I could just put in the time, date, and location. If I had that, I could have given it to the AI in the beginning. And then I can do things like include my signature or schedule it to send later, and I can send this note off to Shirley very quickly, very easily, and AI can help speed that along. And I do that, if I do that multiple times a day, that can really create a lot of time saving for me. All right, so another thing I want to show you, I want to talk just a little bit about our analytics. But before I do that, I want to note the Draft with AI is not just available here for a single note, but it's also available when creating templates. You can use it to help you build those templates that I showed you. You can use it for creating policies. You can use it for best practices, procedures. You can use it for knowledge-based articles in our resource hub, or for drafting entire communication campaigns that you want to send out to your student population or your prospect population. So lots of power there with Draft with AI. We just showed you a tiny slice of that, but it's really embedded throughout the product. So there's lots of places where you can use AI to help you take a shortcut and make that work easier, faster, and increase the quality, like my silly typos obviously would not come across. All right, so we're going to go down to analytics now, and I want to go to our report library. There's a lot of reports here, but the one I want to focus on is down here at artificial intelligence, and this is a utilization report. So as Joe mentioned, AI usage is on the rise, but it's not necessarily adopted institution-wide yet in many places. So the good news is, since adopting our enterprise AI solution, our institutions are able to monitor adoption and see how AI is being utilized across various departments, and the results are promising. The AI utilization report provides colleges with key metrics showing how staff are engaging with the technology. This data not only helps demonstrate the immediate impact on productivity and efficiency, but it also allows colleges to track their adoption rate over time. And as more staff become familiar with our AI tools and they expand usage, we expect our metrics to continue improving, driving even greater efficiencies across our adopting colleges. Now, one of the most valuable aspects of this technology is the ability for leaders to track AI adoption at their institution in real time. This ensures that they can identify areas where additional training or support might be needed to help maximize the benefits of AI. Now, the next thing I want to show you is what we call custom advisors. So Canyon GBS purpose-built the institutional advisor that I showed you at the very beginning to serve staff and faculty at colleges with many different kinds of AI tasks. Think of it as a generalist. But it was not designed to address very specific or specialized scenarios. For that, we recommend you use our custom advisors and tailor those advisors to your own institutional policies, best practices, and so forth. Our philosophy with custom advisors, and really all of our enterprise AI capabilities, is that as former educators ourselves, we believe AI is best used in a higher education context to support and amplify the capabilities of your talented team. We are building tools to help your experienced folks do their work more efficiently, to help them gather their own unique thoughts and approaches and support the vision that staff members have for how to get their own work done. This is not a technology that's designed to replace staff, but it does really improve efficiency and help reduce some of the mundane tasks that they face. There's also some important data that shows this kind of support technology for staff improves job retention and employee satisfaction. And we're starting to see signs of that. Now, I want to show you one example of a custom advisor that we've built. In this case, it would be an advising coach. Now, the purpose of this custom advisor is to help college advisors with complex or challenging student issues and help them provide students with high quality, personalized guidance. Now, this one's already built out with some behind the scenes instructions, but you can imagine making this custom advisor completely tailored to your institution and how you want these advisors to operate. You could upload your strategic plan, your advising handbook, and so forth, in addition to providing the instructions and directions that you want it to have. Now we've built this, so let's give it a try. I'm going to go back to institutional advisor here. And then from this screen, I'm going to access my custom advisors. So I'm going to click here and say use custom advisor. Now I'm going to get a list of them that will appear when I drop down. I could also just start typing if I know the one I want to use. And in this particular case, this one's right at the top, which is pretty handy. So I'm going to select the advising coach. I can also see right here, it's been used a number of times. It's been liked once, at least by somebody. So I can start to get a sense of the success that I might have with using a prompt like this. Now you'll notice this changed from institutional advisor to advising coach. So now I'm just going to ask it a simple question. Maybe I haven't used this before, so I'm going to say, what can you help me with specifically? And then it's going to give me a response. And so I'm actually going to ask it a little bit more of a complex question. Let's imagine for a moment that I have a student who's asked about what job opportunities they might have with the particular degree that they're pursuing and what sort of income potential they might be able to expect. I know I have an upcoming advising appointment with the student, so I'm going to ask the AI to help a bit here and see if it can give me some insights as I prepare for my appointment with the student. Now you'll notice that I've given it details specifically about the student. Again, it's secure, it's private, it's compliant, so this is not a violation. And so it's given me the structured approach to help guide my conversation with Robert. It's given me some sample answers. It's given me some data points on potential jobs and earnings. So now when I go into this conversation, I feel more prepared because I have all of this helpful information. And I'm sure that you can imagine many different ways that you could use custom advisors at your institution for lots of different roles in your organization, from your business office to your student services teams. And while we don't have time to get into every feature or show you lots of different custom advisors, we do have analytics for each of these advisor types that would allow your institution to attract their adoption and usage over time and help your staff integrate this technology into their workflows. Now with that, we're going to move on to our research advisor. Yes, there's more. And the whole point of this technology is to empower institutions to use affordable, wide-scale, agentic AI capabilities. Oh, now that's a mouthful, right? I know agentic AI is sort of a big buzzword these days. But what I mean here is that our research advisor begins by taking the initiative to help improve your research prompt. So right at the very beginning, it asks questions, and then it takes those questions and collects institutional data, and then navigates to any specific websites that you identify and tell it are important. And then it autonomously goes out to consume that content. Once it's complete, it thinks about and determines what additional research might be needed. And then it conducts that research on the internet against dozens of targets, consuming thousands of pages of information across a variety of sources before drafting a comprehensive research report for you. Now, I just want to give you a sneak peek at sort of how this works. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to start a new request. And I'm going to enter that research topic. In this particular case, I'm asking it about some workforce training programs that might be beneficial in this geographic region for a community college to offer. Then in step 2, it's going to ask me one of those follow-up questions that I mentioned. Now, if I have some intel to give it here, that's great. If I don't know, that's fine too. So in this case, I'm just going to say, I'm not sure, you figure it out. Now, the more content I give it here, the better this prompt is going to be and the better the output's going to be. But even without that, you'll see high quality responses. So here's the second question that it's going to ask me. Same thing. I'm going to say, I don't know, you figure it out. Now here in this step, in step 4, I can upload additional data or files from my institution that I wanted to consider. Now this could be any kind of data. It could be audio tracks, it could be transcripts, it could be research papers, anything that I want the AI to take into account as it develops this research report. And then this is optional, so I'm going to skip this, but you'll notice that I can upload these files here to give it more context. And then I can also identify specific websites that I want it to look at when it's developing this report. So I can give it a set of links here, potentially, that I want it to take a look at. And then I could run this. Now, and for the sake of time, I'm not going to actually run it. But what I am going to do is I'm going to go back here and I want to show you one that I've already done along this topic, workforce training opportunities in Phoenix. So you'll notice this is a very comprehensive report that it's generated. And it's got dozens of hyperlinked sources at the end. And we asked it a pretty practical question about the most prevalent industries in this particular region that could benefit from these workforce training programs at our community college. But I'm sure you can imagine having this research advisor become a starting point for considering initiatives or brainstorming strategic approaches for your institution. You'll notice here I've got all the links and all the sources that it reviewed. So there's so much capability here. Also, you'll notice I can email this out to somebody if I want to share it. Now, this is not only designed to be more accessible than many other products, but it's also more affordable than many other products. We offer our enterprise AI solution at a price point that's currently 6 times less expensive than leading enterprise plans for AI, and 20 times less expensive. Yes, 20 times less expensive than some professional AI plans that are out there, while still providing the most comprehensive output when compared to many competitors with our novel approach to conducting this kind of agentic research. And I'm sure you can imagine the applications and how powerful this could be for your institution or your team. Now, with that, let me hand it back to Joe, and then we'll show you some more exciting stuff in a little bit.
All right. Did that transition back? Do I got the right slide up here? Okay. All right. Thanks so much for that, Mark. So we just talked about our staff and faculty enterprise AI features. Of course, those features are used to serve students, but now we're going to change gears and show you features that are used directly by students and prospects. So that's going to be our Q&A advisor functionality. So fundamentally, a Q&A advisor is a chatbot that you build and you embed on your website or in your classrooms with your data, your question and answer pairs, your websites, and then you make that available to students and prospects. The implementation details do matter though. As Mark will explain in more detail in the demo, students and prospects will actually sign in to use this tool with their email address very easily, very quickly. But then that is going to provide you information in terms of who is using this and what their engagements are. In addition to that, the AI will autonomously transcribe, summarize, and log an interaction in the CRM for that student or that prospect at the conclusion of this process. And it will automatically notify, as an in-app notification, the care team to let them know that this engagement has happened. And so this part of having these chatbot tools integrated with your broader student and prospect engagement strategy, I think is one of those things that's different about the technology that we're going to bring to market here. You can build Q&A advisors really for anything from a teaching assistant specifically for Math 101 that is just for that Canvas classroom, for instance, or you can build a Q&A advisor that covers general topics on your website, navigates policies, academic plans, answers questions about the specific programs you're in, talks about your pathways initiatives, whatever it is that you want to build. So this is a chance for you to be able to design these advisors to serve your students and prospects. Now, Mark's going to go ahead and take you through that technology, show you how our Q&A advisors work, and how that would be used by students and prospects. With that, Mark, I will pass it over to you.
Thank you, Joe. I'm going to take over sharing again here for just a moment. All right. I think that's, is that up? Can folks see that? Is that displaying? Okay, thanks. All right, so I think my screen is up again. Again, this is the advising app interface. We're here in the artificial intelligence section. This is the institutional advisor that I walked you through. But now we're going to go, as Joe mentioned, to a student-facing or prospect-facing solution called the Q&A advisor. So I'm going to click here on the Q&A advisor. Now, what's unique about our Q&A advisor? I mean, you've heard of chatbots before, and so what's unique about this? Well, for one thing, we authenticate both students and prospects to use the Q&A advisor. Now, this is different than the way a lot of other tools work. And with prospects, it's very tricky because we are authenticating people. Think about this for a moment. They do not have an account in your SIS. They do not have an account in your enterprise identity system. But we serve as the source of record. Our CRM serves as the source of record. And in fact, our CRM can generate a brand new record for a contact that interacts with the Q&A advisor if it's the first time you're interacting with that prospect. So when they supply their email address, it will check and see if it doesn't have that email address already, it can create a prospect record for that. So in this way, the Q&A advisor can support lead capture or lead generation opportunities for your institution. Now, let's start with a very common scenario that happens at a lot of colleges. Imagine that our college has a website dedicated to completing the FAFSA. I think most colleges probably do. So we'll click here. Now, as Joe mentioned, this could literally be anything. This could be a teaching assistant in a specific course in your LMS. It could be an advisor on your website, just talking about a particular program, for example. Any domain area you choose, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, supplied with your institution's contextual information. Now, let's assume that a staff member decided to build a Q&A advisor for this page about the FAFSA. And I want to show you a little bit what this looks like. So we've got some general information here, and then I've got some categories. So the first thing I want to look at, in addition to the general configuration, is I've got categories. So I'm going to click here on the categories, and I've got a category about the top frequently asked questions. This is one of the categories that I have, and I can then look at my question and answer pairs, as Joe mentioned. So these are some of the questions that I've supplied along with the answers. You'll notice it shows here that they're in that category of top frequently asked questions. So I can see the category that they're in, as well as the question and answer. Then I have this unique ability to add additional knowledge. So I could upload any documents or any files, any type, that I would like the Q&A advisor to be an expert on. So all of that additional information could go here, and I can upload those documents. So in addition to the Q&A pairs, it's got this additional institutional context information that I want it to have. And then I can click on websites. Now, this is very cool because you can use your existing website that you've spent a lot of time building, curating, updating, ensuring that the information there is accurate, and so forth. You can add that website as a source of knowledge for the Q&A advisor when it answers questions from your prospects or students. So if a prospect or a student doesn't take the time to browse your web page for the information that's there, the Q&A bot can certainly ingest that information. Now, before we publish this, we can test it. So we're going to click on this preview button here on the left, and we're going to give it a whirl and see what it knows and see if it's behaving in the way that we might want it to behave. So Let's ask it first a fairly common question, I think, about checking the status of a FAFSA submission. Now, this could be a prospect or a student who wants to know this, right? But in this case, I ask it how to check, and it tells me how to do this, right? Now, I can ask it another question. Let's ask it a little bit more esoteric question. Let's ask it about the EIC. And it will have an answer, a very specific answer about where it's listed on my 1040, right, when I submit my taxes. So this is very helpful, very specific, and allows students to answer these complicated questions about filling out the FAFSA without a human having to be involved. 24/7, this bot is out there answering these questions. So as you can see, we're trying to demystify how institutions can leverage the most complex large language models in very practical ways for serving students across the entire student life cycle, from interest all the way through graduation. Once your Q&A advisor is ready, you've done the testing, it's behaving in the way that you expect it to, then you can place it on any website or any page inside any classroom in your LMS. So let's take a look at how this works. I'm going to click on embed. Once this page loads, I'm going to enable embedding my Q&A advisor somewhere, right? Then I'm going to give it an authorized domain so that it can't just be anywhere, right? In this particular case, it's going to be limited to my college's domain. Then I'm going to click embed snippet. And it's going to create this snippet that I can put on any web page. I just click it, it copies it. It gave me a little notice there that it had copied that, right? And then I put this, I just paste this right into my page editor for my website, or when I'm adding a page in my classroom for the LMS, or wherever I want this Q&A advisor to live, that's where I put the code, and it will be embedded on that page with your college header and your college footer. Like, I'm not sending them someplace else. It's embedded in the page. And this will help you serve your students and prospects in your voice, with your data, affordably, and in a very easy to produce fashion. Now, I know that we went pretty fast and we had to skip through a number of things, but we're happy to go into more detail in a demo with your institution, which you'll be able to schedule. We'll put that link in chat, I think, before we go today. Joe will put that in. Oh, I see our polls coming up as well. Thanks for that. And with that, I'm going to hand it back to Joe so that we can do Q&A. Thank you so much for your time and attention as we demoed this software for you today.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Mark. I know that was so much so fast. So I really appreciate everybody kind of sitting through that. We are happy to dive deep in any one of these areas. A lot of AI, I think, definitely involves like the application of the technology in addition to the technology itself. So understanding like what kind of Q&A advisors should we do at our college, or which custom advisors are going to help my particular team, operate more efficiently. This is part of what we do at Canyon GBS, right? We provide you the technology and the approach that's needed in order to fully realize the value of that. Like Mark said, I love that demystifying, right? Let's demystify the process of making AI like a useful resource for you to do the amazing work that you guys do every single day. So we're really grateful for you coming today and going through and watching our demo and hearing about our technology, which we're so excited about. But if you have any questions, we're certainly happy to talk through those now. So if you just want to send any messages through chat with any questions, we're happy to take those. Or alternatively, we could just talk about what's coming up with us and allow you to move on for the rest of your day. So I'll give you a minute here to send any questions that you might have. So Jason just mentioned, which I definitely want to mention as well, that the EDUCAUSE annual conference is coming up, right? It feels like it's just right around the corner now. We will be there with about 10 of our team members. So please come by our booth. I believe it's 1133. We're right by EDUCAUSE Central. So please come out and see us. We're happy to show you more of our technology and talk with you about the technology. We also have 2 additional demo days which focus on different parts of the advising app solution. The next demo day is at the end of next month, and that's going to cover our student wellness capabilities in advising app. And then we have another demo day coming up after that, which focuses on full lifecycle CRM capabilities. So we'd love for you to join us there as well. And I think we got some links for that too. Thank you so much for putting those in. Oh, it looks like we just got a question from Joe here. Thank you so much for that. The question is, any limit on the number of URLs or documents that can be linked to the Q&A advisor? Can it consume video data? Okay, so first, I'll start with the second half and then go to the first half. Video data, yes. Audio files, yeah. Any kind of spreadsheets, one of the things that we're really proud of with our technology is just the sheer amount of different formats that we support. We have a separate dedicated model with Vision that parses any of this content and creates it in a consumable large language model format. Just really just a fancy way of saying it can understand documents really well in any kind of format. And then that information is added to the Q&A advisor. And so yes, it can definitely consume video data. And then in the terms of limit of URLs, currently we have these as soft limits as 5 for URLs and 5 for document files. But those are definitely things that we're looking at potentially increasing if needed. But most of our colleges right now are able to do that, especially because you can build a Q&A advisor for essentially as many as you need for whatever you're covering. But yeah, those are some of the soft limits that are there on the product today. Thank you so much for that question. I think we have just a couple more minutes in case there are any more. And I do see that Jason already posted the link for our demo day in November. Thank you for that as well, Jason. All right. Well, I think that wraps us up then. I'll hand it back over to you, Jason. Thank you all for your time, and thank you, EDUCAUSE, for giving us this opportunity to show our technology.
Fantastic. Thank you, Joe. Thank you, Mark. I really appreciate it, folks. I know you all are going to be hopping off to continue with the rest of your day. Just an opportunity to plug the fact that the recordings and resources are all going to be available. Canyon GBSs will be added shortly to the Canvas page. So thank you all so much, and we'll see you at our next demo day. I hope you have a great Labor Day and a good weekend. Thanks.